Hello and welcome to another video with myself, Reverend Arlene C. It is New Year's Eve, December 31st, the end to 2024. What a ride it has been. I don't know if you've been noticing that too. Um, so I've been needing to make this video today, and of course, life gets in the way of living sometimes. No. Um, So there's a few things I wanted to talk about as we come to a close and step into 2025. And just some things, again, just to kind of recap some of what 2024 has revealed to us and is preparing us as we step into 2025. And you're going to probably notice, um, similar information anyways, right? Because like we said before, everything just builds on top of the experience before, right? And we've said so many times, making the Shrek joke that, we are layers and every layer reveals something more. And it's just that little extra piece to our puzzle of ourselves because we have forgotten often who and what we are. And then um, or like they like to say in the little buzzwords, we were asleep and now we're awake. And as we're in this sense of awakening, we are remembering and is remembering who and what we truly are. It's about connecting back to divinity and the divinity within ourselves because we are all fractals of God. We are all fractals of the universe, whatever name you wish to give it. I choose to name it God. And and I do that too because I realize in this journey, and I feel like I've been in this journey for a really, really long time, but what I realized in this journey is, and I understand too, because it was something I struggled with, right? Because as soon as people hear the word God, they associate with religion. And not that I'm saying religion is bad in any way either, right? Everything has its purpose. And, and we are all here playing our role perfectly, right? And those who are what some people call, those hardcore religious people, um, they are playing their role perfectly too, because that is what they're here to do. And I'm not saying one is right and one is wrong. It's just everything has its purpose, whether we see it or not, or whether we understand it or not. And sometimes it's not for us to understand, right? That is the marvel of God, that there is a purpose for everything. And we are just not always in the know, right? It's just like when you think of, I'm not in the States, but I have a lot of friends and family who are, right? And like they said, when you think about the president, right? The president has this high role, but he isn't in the know, or she, whatever, eventually one day, or maybe not, who knows, right? It doesn't matter. But either way, the president's role, they don't know everything. There's so much that they are not given notice of or aware of, or like the specific details, because they are considered a civil servant, right? So they only um, get partial information or certain aspects of it, but they are not given all the secrets, let's say, or whatever, right? Especially with military and all that stuff. So it's the same thing here. We are just servants, really, right? We are servants to God, and God doesn't need to share everything with us, right? Because humans love to get in the way of things. And because they like to think that their plan and what they know is better than what God knows, right? So that's part of it. But, anyways, it's the aspect of we are all divinity and fractals of God. And my purpose is I want, to help us understand that we don't have to associate the word with that heaviness or that intensity that has been made because of all these other things, right? God is just a term that is used, right? And there's so many other true definitions of the word God that has nothing to do with religion, right? God is a beautiful spirit, and for us to even try to label or describe, or we are really muddling it up because we can never truly understand what that is, right? But anyways, I'm a little off track. So what we're starting to notice, that 2024, has really started the ball rolling and these changes that we're seeing. And I feel that the continuation or what is going to be more present now is the personal changes, right? And it is always a personal change, right? The change begins with us. It doesn't matter what's really happening on the outside. It's all about us and what we are experiencing within us. And that's how we approach the world, right? From our experiences and lens and perception, right? And that's how we experience people and places and things. So we are limited to our perspective unless we become more consciously aware and sit in that seat of consciousness that we can, like I've said in so many videos and posts, if we can find a way to detach ourselves from the personal, human aspect of it or from the ego part of it, right? And see it from the seat of consciousness and detach ourselves and just be the observer, then sorry, the energy just shifted big time in my ears. Ooh, okay. So we must be on track because my ears are going funky. Okay. Um, so as Whoa, sorry. Now I just lost where I was going because it's so intense. My ears all of a sudden. Sorry, I apologize for that. Okay, I had to pause it there for a moment. So if we are going to be in the seat of consciousness, the seat of the observer, then that will give us the clearest and more pristine view of what is happening. So it's so important that we keep checking in with ourselves, asking ourselves, why is this triggering me? Why am I having this reaction? Right? And understanding, is it mine? Is it, can I detach for a moment and maybe possibly see it from another perspective? Right? Especially when we do interact with people, right? Too, it's understanding it's having that extra level of compassion if we can, which doesn't, again, never means that it's right or wrong or that we are excusing behavior. Is we are trying to see it from a different perspective so that we don't allow ourselves to get so wrapped up in it that we get entangled with it and we miss the opportunity for that growth and shift within ourselves to happen, right? Because we have gone through such heavy activations in 2024 that now we are in this even more intense, I'm going to just say the word intense activation that's happening now, right? So again, we are only, again, like I said, we have our within us and then the divine self, and we're kind of meeting in the middle, right? So more of the within ourselves is connecting in deeper and connecting in stronger to that divinity within ourselves so that it becomes more of this and less of, I'm going to say the human just to make sense because of the ego, right? And so it's, and I've said in other videos, it's not about getting rid of our ego. It's creating a new relationship with the ego so that the ego isn't so much in charge anymore. And it is only our divinity. It is only our true conscious awareness. It's that true awakening and a true remembering that rides the bus, that drives it, that drives the bus for us. So we're going to be noticing more in 2025 that need or that aspect having more of a role where we are beginning to take more personal accountability and responsibility, right? And again, as I've always said, that 2024 brought that into it's that rawness with ourselves, that raw honesty, that uh, raw vulnerability, the accountability, the responsibility, paying attention to our intention and attention. Those things are so important. And we're continuing the flow and shift into, I've used so many times now, quality versus quantity, right? We're starting to see where we've been so distracted, where we've allowed ourselves to be distracted because we were too, or we were unprepared to actually step forward into seeing that truth, right? Because it's difficult for us to be honest with ourselves. Sometimes we think we're being honest with ourselves, but we really aren't because we are not ready to make those tough choices. And they're tough because we are afraid to let go of who we thought we were. We're afraid to let go of the life we know and the life we understand, right? And the unknown is so scary for us. Even if we know or can tell ourselves it's for the better, right? Like, not being in this job, not being in this relationship, not continuing to believe this stuff about me, not continuing to hold on to this anger towards family, friends, places, situations. We want to let those things go, but it's difficult for us because we don't know who we are unless we're those things. So I feel more and more in 2025, there's going to be rarely any room anymore in the paradigm to be those things anymore because they just won't be able to function. And it is going to cause us, those who continue to resist, more health issues, more problems in general, right? And like body issues, aches and pains, more of those things, other, like I said, other health issues. Um, and you're just going to notice more and more of what you're attracting, which is those parts you don't want, but you're attracting it more because you are refusing to move forward and refusing to really do the hard work and let it go. So I feel that 2025 is more of this personal work where, I'm sure most people are like, what are you talking about? I've already been doing all this personal work. That was kind of nothing until now. Like, not that it was nothing, but it was barely touching the surface. For some who really struggled, others, yes, they went deep in, but there's still even more to be revealed and more that is collapsing outside of us, especially too, right? Because we are beginning, like I said, to see the distractions in the lies and the illusions. And it will be difficult for some, right? And of course, but that's how it works for us because us being human, like I said before, we tend to get in the way um, and we resist change so often that it does take some really intense shaking of the foundation. It takes enormous events for us to truly make a difference and change what is happening in within our lives and within ourselves. And the more you resist, the bigger these events are going to end up being. Uh, you know, and so if you're in that, you know, I just hope. I don't even want to say the word hope because I don't like the word hope. But it'll just be more intense. And if you thought it was intense before, that's was nothing. That was just like kindergarten level, right? Kind of thing, even though sometimes it doesn't feel like that. Um, but there is this beauty coming in from 20 for 2025. And again, like I said, if you are willing to surrender and accept and trust that God is working for you and with you, and it's happening for you, not to you, that will really help in whatever it is that you're experiencing. And I know I said this so many times, but it doesn't make it any less true. Uh, like I was having a conversation with my mom the other day, and just thinking about my life and just everything that I've gone through. And, it was interesting. I didn't realize how many times when I was younger, I almost died. Like it was so crazy. I didn't realize that. And then I think about, when I was a teenager and how deep my depression was and the amount of times I tried to hurt myself and, and end my life. And I don't know if I did talk about this. I think I did talk about it in another video a long time ago when I was still intuitive works, I think. And I talked about where it was my 17th birthday was coming up. And because I was, so I wanted, my plan was to end my life on my 17th birthday. And I went to this Portuguese thing with my mom and my cousin. The special priest had come in from Portugal, and he was going to be at this high school gym having a special kind of like mass there. And supposedly this priest or bishop or something like that, like he was kind of big up there, and he was really well known in Portugal. And he was known for receiving messages from God and Jesus, and that he would share these messages. And during this mass, and it was all in Portuguese. And as much as I understand Portuguese, but there's still so much that I'm limited to. Um, and of course, it was moving, and at that time too, my mom always kept me more close because she was worried about me because of my other attempts of suicide. So she never felt comfortable leaving me home alone anymore. Um, so we all went, and the only time that this priest spoke in English was to say that there was someone here, there was a young person here who wanted to take their life, and that Jesus had bigger plans and God had bigger plans. And that was it. Like I was just bawled. Like I left crying my eyes out. Like it was crazy. And again, like I don't remember too much because it was just such a profound moment that you just can't even remember. But I couldn't stop crying. It was just crazy. And I was just like, yeah, I'm telling my cousin, like, oh my gosh, I'm like, I was planning this on my birthday, blah, 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 and all that stuff. And I just think, you know, all these times that, like I almost died as a child, because of having a heart murmur and stuff too. So I had these health issues and stuff. So it's just like all these different things. Like when I was first a baby, I needed a blood transfusion because, I was so sick, and then needing to get my tonsils removed. But then for some reason, something was wrong too, and I needed all this extra medicine and help and support because I wasn't waking up and all these different things were happening, you know. So it's just like, yeah, it was just crazy, like, thinking about these things. And it's like, I think about all that and, then being in this line of belief and work and just what I've experienced. Like I'm almost getting emotional. It's just, and it's still not even close to what I experienced even just a few years ago. Like let's say even just 5 years ago, maybe a little less, a little bit more than 5 years ago. You know, not even the same person. I'm not even, like even just from a week ago, I feel like I'm a totally different person. Just more and more, the more and more I trust and have faith and surrender, the more and more I talk to God every day and I recite my prayers and stuff. And again, it's not really from like religious or even spiritual. I don't even know. I guess I'm more metaphysical, but at the same time, there is this devotion that I feel for God and, and for Jesus. And again, that was another thing too, right? Was removing that connection because of what I was being raised, Portuguese and Roman, Roman Catholic and stuff like that. And just there's a lot of struggles I have with the religion, but there's still lots of beauties to it too. And again, it's still hard sometimes to separate it because, like I said, that's what I was raised with, right? And there's always parts of me that cling to certain aspects of it because it just made sense because that's all I knew. But then there's so many aspects too where I'm drawn to Buddhism and other things too. So I just listen to God. That's my biggest thing. I listen to God, and then I believe there are those who work with God, which is Jesus and Mary and Saint Joseph and other saints and angels, and then the other ascended masters, right? And different humans that have been here too, right? And then I have my galactic friends too, right, that are connected to me as well. I have that connection to the galactics as well. So I bring it all in. And I do also realize that they are all aspects of me, right? It's just different versions because we are fractals and there are billions of fractals that we connect to all the different dimensions and spaces of time, right? So there's all that, but that goes into a lot of deep things. So we won't go there, or this would be like another like 20-minute video. But this is what I wanted to share as we're stepping out of 2024 into 2025. And again, it's always the same in that message of being compassionate with yourself and being compassionate with others. Um, giving yourself permission to feel what you need to feel without being attached to it. Let your body experience the feeling without getting attached to the emotion. Um, Taking that time to write is always really great. Taking the time to talk to God, just talking it out sometimes is just enough, right? Um, Doing it in nature, if something feels more sacred to you, if you're one of those people who create like an altar at home, then spend that time with your altar and speak to God, right? And whatever it is that you choose to speak to, if it's lighting a candle and praying or just like again talking out loud, like every place can be a sacred place for you if you choose it to be, right? And that's what matters. Wherever it is that you feel the closest to God, that's what matters. And use that time to just chat, right? And to always be thankful, always show gratitude because truly that is such a huge piece to this, right? Always focusing on the gratitude for the littlest thing, the fact that you woke up today, you know, that is something huge to be grateful for. The fact that you've made it here is huge. You are meant to be here. If you weren't meant to be here, you'd have been gone already. And especially for those where this time of year is so hard for them. And I get that because I struggle too. I still struggle with, I guess we'll still call it depression, whatever it is, right? Like there's still aspects that I struggle with. And it's difficult too because I do take on a lot and carry a lot, uh, being this person that I am. And, and sometimes being able to see the bigger picture can still be difficult, right? Because you're just like, my heart just aches. Like there's this piece of me that just breaks, for humanity. And I have such love for humanity, even though I struggle with humans, right? I struggle being a human. I struggle with humans. And sometimes, yeah, like sometimes I just want to slap people, right? But at the same time, I have such this love for humanity, because I I want to believe in everybody's potential, right? Um, and that it's there, that everybody deserves some level of compassion, no matter who you are, because you're all here playing the role you're meant to play, whether we understand it or not. I'm going to leave it there, but like I said, I know for those who are struggling, please understand that you are meant to be here. You are worth so much. You are loved. You truly are. And what you're struggling with is the pain. And that was always my thing when I realized looking back at all those times I tried to, commit suicide. I tried to kill myself all those times I was hurting myself. It's just I wanted the pain to stop. I realized it's not that I wanted to die. That just seemed like the best option. because I thought if I died, then the pain would stop, you know. But then, too, you think about, those that you'd be leaving behind, and that's always a struggle is thinking of that. But I also felt too, like, when I wanted the pain to stop, I thought I was a burden on my family and society, that I was taking up space, that, I probably shouldn't have been here, you know, because even too, again, even before I was born, there was issues because my mom's health and she could have died having me. So right there too, I held on to that guilt that my mom having me could have almost killed her. Like these are all things I held on to. So there was a lot of programs that I had to like go through, a lot of the layers, right? So please let me be some type of inspiration for you in some way, shape, or form. I'm not saying that my life is easy. Like I said, I still have a lot of like health issues and stuff. I'm raising two boys with special needs, helping my mom still too, who has a lot of health issues and other family. But there's just this devotion in me to God that knows I'm going to be okay. My family will be okay. That really, when I really look back, we've never not been okay. Something has always showed up to support us. And I wake up every day and I go to bed every day just saying thank you. I don't sit there and ask for anything. I really try not to unless I'm trying to support somebody else. I'll come and ask God and the angels to help me. But most often, I try to do my best to just say thank you because even when you think about from a human point of view, how do you feel when people are always coming to you and only asking for things? It doesn't feel good, right? So why would I do that to God? Why would I do that to the angels? Why would I do that to the saints and to the ascended masters and the galactics? They need to be just thanked for just being. And, we need that too. Other humans need that too. They need to just know that they're loved because they exist. Wishing you all a wonderful New Year's Eve and all the best for 2025, surrounding you in love. And remember, you are loved, you are seen, you are safe, and you're whole. Until next time, we'll see you in 2025.